Hey guys, gonna give you my Facebook Live today. As always, I wait for the total count to get to 1,000. So if you could just bear with me while we make this the climb up, I'll give a count as we go. We have one person. That's good. Whoever you are. Hello, 8 people. We're climbing up. 45. We'll get to 1,000 at some point. I'm gonna tell you some stuff today about the media and about these polls and about everybody writing off Trump. All right, we're at 2,000 and climbing. Here we go. I want to give you 3 stories from my time in the media that will support what my narrative is today, which is you cannot believe what they're telling you on television right now. All right. First story. Some of you may remember the Bundy Ranch back in Nevada. Not the last stand that they did in Oregon, but the one in Nevada. The one in Nevada, I went out to just to cover it as a story. I knew nothing about the Bundys or anything like that was going on out there. I just went to cover it. And I went out with my camera. And one of the things I had seen was slaughtered cows. And when I made that report back that there were slaughtered cows, I was told that, oh no, we can't show that. And I said, well, what do you mean you can't show that? Without the slaughtered cows, the story gets lost. And no, we can't show that. So believe me when I tell you, there are things that are part of a story that never see the light of day, and so the complete story isn't there. Now, why I'm telling you this, it will connect in the end. Number 2 story is when I had my own show, I wanted to interview the Secret Service agent who had the detail for the Clintons. He wrote a book. It was actually the #1 bestseller book. And I was told he wasn't invited on the network. Now, how can that be? This is somebody with incredible insight, the sort of insight that you and I would never, ever have. Here's a guy who's risking it all and saying, hey, it's so important for the American people to know what I know. I'm going to come out and jeopardize maybe my own reputation if people think that I'm scum for sharing this story. I wanted to have this guy, and I was told no. So there's another example of where the media will not twist a story, but suppress it. All right? Number 3. One of the guys who shows up in my films all the time is a man named John Rowland. At this point, he's in his mid-70s, but he's a legend here in New York for reporting the news. He was on Fox Local here for, 30, 40 years. Always had the #1 show. High reputation. Before he actually anchored a show, he worked in the back rooms cutting film. And when he was working at NBC, this is back in the Reagan days when Reagan was trying to run for office, he was told to go in the back and run the film from last night. At some point at the dinner that Reagan was at, he dropped food off his fork, and it made him look like he didn't know how to eat. It was one of those bad moments caught on camera. Out of the whole evening, of all the great things he said and all the things he did, the guy at NBC wanted to play that one spot where he dropped the food off the fork. So this way, he could control the narrative because this guy at NBC did not like Ronald Reagan. So what's the point? You put these 3 things together. The media does not like Donald Trump. In fact, they despise him. They despise him because he's been calling them out for more than a year. And everybody has sort of figured out that the press is really not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the 4th pillar in this country. And it's not anymore. It has lost its way. And so now the media is getting him back. In addition to wanting to have Hillary in there anyway because she carries that liberal agenda, they are getting him back for all the times that he called them out right in front of them when he was at his rallies. This is the way they're doing it. They're controlling the narrative. Now, what do I mean by that? If Trump has one mistake in his bag of mistakes that he continues to play and he has to lose it in the next 2 weeks, and I would bet my arm on this. He continues to pour gasoline on the fire. Here's why. Go back to that food thing I told you about with Reagan dropping off the fork. If Trump were just to go 3-4 days straight without one time ever saying crooked media, 11 women, or GOP sucks, All those things, if he would have dropped those for just 3 days straight and just talk about Obamacare, talk about Hillary and all the corruption, talk about how it is he's going to fix the illegal immigration and stop Islamic terrorism and lower taxes, the things that the undecided voters who right now usually make their decisions in these last 2 weeks, if he were to focus on that only, here's what would happen. The undecided voters wouldn't be able to see the food falling off the fork. Okay? They wouldn't be suppressing a story. The networks would have no choice but to find the sound bites within his speech to play. And guess what? They would only have sound bites about his policies. He would control the narrative. That's called fighting fire with fire, Donald. He's trying to fight the fire a different way. It's not going to work. For the last 2 weeks, it's not going to work. If he can just, I swear, if he just did it for 3 days straight, he would watch his polls skyrocket. Skyrocket. Now, in addition to that, I want to give you more good news. The way that news works is every single day, the anchors and the production team, they sit down, they look at a couple of different websites, they look at what the big headlines are, and that's how they fill the show. Right now, with politics, everything is the election. So they have to cover Trump. Trump has to give them what he wants the message to be to the people who are undecided at home. And here's another thing that Trump needs to know when it comes to this. This is not the art of the deal. This is the art of the sell. That's where we are at this point. We are the art of the sell. And in sales, there's a thing called an elevator pitch, which means that if you get to an elevator and you only got 4 floors to sell yourself or sell something to a person in an elevator, you have to do it in 4 minutes or less. Trump has to remember that the soundbite world that we live in of cable news and internet and Twitter is all about soundbites. He has to do the art of the sell. He has to imagine being in front of that undecided voter. If you only had one question to ask Trump, would you ask him, the one question I have for you is, what are you going to do with these 11 women who have come out with these allegations? Are you going to sue them? No. You're going to ask them, how will you lower my taxes? How will you improve my insurance for my health and for a home? How will you get rid of these illegal aliens? So he has to give the art of the sell. He has to give the sales pitch in every single speech he gives without any of these other things involved. If he cuts those other things out, he gives the media nothing but the sales pitch, and that's how it could work for him. Because remember, Hillary Clinton isn't doing this on her stumps. She's just going in and going out and ragging about how Donald's so crazy. But if Donald doesn't give them those sound bites, what she's selling isn't going to work, right? Now, the other thing that you're getting from pundits, and I'll leave off on this one, all the pundits on television, all of them, are all saying how this election is pretty much over. There's no way Trump can do it. The Electoral College is against them. Blah-de-da-de-da-de. They're talking about these polls. Remember something here, which they're forgetting, or maybe they are selectively forgetting. All of these people are the same people who told you a year and a half ago that Trump had no chance. They're the ones who laughed at Trump when he came down the escalator and said they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, and they're rapists, but some are good people. They laughed him off. They laughed him off when he said he was going to do a ban. They laughed him off when he said he was going to build a wall. All of this stuff, they said he would never make it, and he made it. He collected more votes than any other person in Republican primary history. Remember how important that is. All these people were caught with their pants down, except for yours truly. They were all shown to be wrong. Then what they did was they shifted and tried to hedge their bets and try to become somewhat Trump fans. But now that he's somewhat struggling because of all these, he can't get past these allegations, which is his own problem, nobody else's, because I know his camp is telling him to stop. Now they're all against him. Now they're all telling you, oh, there's no chance for him to win, because they're all trying to make it sound like they knew something. Everything about this election has been different from anything we've ever seen in our life before, correct? Okay. That also goes with the polling. A few things. If you support Trump, think about it. You're a racist, right? You're a racist. You hate women. Everything that's out there is bad as you if you're a Trump fan. I don't care about that stuff because I know it's BS. You know it's BS. A lot of people don't. I know a lot of people who will not wear Make America Great Again hat because they're afraid of the stain that goes with that. So what they do is they sit back and they're quiet. So these polls that you're hearing about, people are afraid to say they're championing for Trump. They're sitting in the background. But when the screen is closed and nobody's looking, they'll pull that lever for them. That's not being accounted for. Number two, also, another important thing. These polls are of what's called likely voters, meaning people who have voted in the past. Well, the one thing that Trump has done unbelievably is he's pulled people off the sidelines. He's got the people who haven't voted in years, in decades. Some people in their entire life are now voting for the first time. So what happens? Those people are going to be coming out of the woodwork and they'll be like, where were these people? Yeah, they've been sleeping for decades and that's why they're out. They're not being accounted for in these polls. So trust me when I tell you, when you look at these things, they're not accounting for the entire story. That's why it is imperative for Donald Trump, and Donald, I'm talking to you directly because I'm going to wind up sending this to you know who right after I'm done, and you're going to get it. You're going to get it, and when the plays go up, and I know it, when there's 1 million plays or 500,000 plays on this, you'll look at it. You have to do the art of the sell. Stop with the other crap, man. We've all banked on you, and we support you, but you got to stop buying into the bullshit that they're feeding you. And I apologize for the bad French, but there's no other way of saying it. They are sucking you in. And I understand why you get sucked in. I understand because I've been in your spot before. It is enraging to have people tell lies about you. It is enraging for people to take a little something in your life and twist it to make it look like you're a nut job or a scumbag. I get it, but you have to rise above that. You have to rise above that and show the undecided voter that you are not an unhinged person and that you do, in fact, have discipline. You can fight these guys later about the BS. You know how you fight them? You win the election, man. You win the election and you never had to take a swing. That's the way you win. You need to be a little bit smarter right now for the last 2 weeks. And if you're smarter, you'll get in there, buddy. And all these pundits will be wrong. And we can send the illegal aliens home and have lower insurance and all those other great things that we all want. All right? So, as far as you out there listening to this, you know everything I just said made complete sense. So what you have to do is you have to fill in the gap. You need to share. It is the most powerful thing you have at your disposal. Share. We hit more people with these videos than any of the networks hit people. We are rocking and rolling, and it's all because of you. Trust me on this one. There was a recent study done that a message that is seen on television is believed by 17% of the people who see it. But when that same message is put on Facebook and shared, it goes up to believability of 73%. The people, and I get this from you guys all the time. You ready? You ready? You guys, this is some of the comments I get. Oh, my liberal friends don't even read it. They go past it. No, they do read it. They may not tell you that they read it. They may never admit to it that they read it. But if you keep on sharing the same thing over and over and over, they're going to start looking at what you do. And all it takes is one of these videos. All it takes is one of these videos. Because again, I want to repeat this for the person who's watching this for the first time. I don't think that I would want to hang out with Donald Trump. He and I are not going to wind up getting along very well. But you know what? I have been saying this guy would be a president since 2014. Not because I love him or I think he's the greatest guy in the world, but because I know he's going to get stuff done. I know he's going to change the country back to the way it needs to be. And I've always said this, and I'll say it to the day I die. The man's ego is so big that he wants to be on Mount Rushmore. He wants to go down as the greatest president of all time. And you know what? Let him do it. Let him get his face on that last spot on Mount Rushmore. Because in order for him to do that, that means that I got the illegal aliens out of my city. That means that I got my insurance back that I had before Obamacare. That means that my military is built back up and my veterans are being taken care of the way they need to be taken care of. That means that cops are back to being respected and Black Lives Matter is no longer empowered by the President of the United States. That means that the Islamic nut jobs who are looking at every single stretch of the imagination to try to come and chop your head off, they're over. And that means that the Russians and the Iranians and the Chinese are not hacking into my systems anymore, and I don't have to worry about the lights going off in my house or my ATM being inaccessible because somebody hacked in and now they're holding the key over our head. I don't care if he gets up on Mount Rushmore because it means that my life and my children's life and your life is all that much better. Allow his ego to work for you. What is the problem here? Remember, we are not hiring our next door neighbor. We're hiring a president, a guy who's going to get things done and make America great again. And he's going to make you nauseous half the time when he talks because he's going to tell you about how great he is. So what? Be smarter. Let him work for you. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Because trust me, if my brother or my cousin or my neighbor or anybody else was talking to me at the same way he was talking to me about telling me how great he is and all this other stuff, I'd shut up. I'd hang up the phone. I'd say, get out of my house. But this guy, I'm going to let him do it all day long because you want to know what? I'm going to let it work for me. You got to let it work for you. And at the end of the day, he's a good man. He's a good man. With Hillary, we know we're getting a thief and a crime-ridden life. I mean, this woman, you got to watch Dinesh D'Souza's movie, Hillary's America. You got to watch it. I watched it the other night. And I was speechless. I know this stuff left and right. I learned so much stuff. I learned so much stuff in that movie. And I vowed after I was done, I said, you know what? I am going to continue to fight for this guy until the very last minute. You watch that movie. You're an undecided voter. You watch that movie. And then you go watch the video of Trump that will make you cringe the most. I don't know which one it is. There's plenty of them out there. You watch those two things and you tell me who you want your president to be. You probably say neither one of them. But if you got to choose one, you choose Trump. You choose Trump. You're going to put more money in your pocket, more safety in your life. It's easy. So I go back and end. I always say I'm going to end and I go longer on this because I see what you guys are saying here to me. The media is trying to drive the narrative and he is allowing them to do it every time he talks about these women. Every time he talks about anybody else other than the American people. He's got to talk to the American people. If he does it in the last 2 weeks, this game's over. He's going to win. And one last thing. We posted this on my website earlier today on DennisMichaelLynch.com. There is a professor, actually from where I live on Long Island. He's from Stony Brook University. For the past 20 years, he has gotten every presidential election correct. Why? He has a two-pronged modeling system. Number one modeling system is that he's looked back over the last 200 years about the elections. And most of the time, when a party has had the White House for 2 years, two terms in a row, it switches back to the other party. That's number one. Number two is that he has always done his modeling based on who does better in the primary. From which side? So, did Donald do better in the primary for his party than Hillary did in hers? And the answer to that is yes. When you put those two things together, he has been right over the past 20 years. And he says that he is betting everything on the fact that Trump will win. So you know what? As shattering as this is getting on some days and crazy as it's getting, keep in mind those two things are factors. And if Donald can just completely stay focused, like a Gettysburg Address, don't start it off. You don't make your elevator pitch at the Gettysburg Address about the 11 women. Make your elevator pitch about, I am going to lower your taxes, improve your health insurance, deport the illegal aliens, build our military, and protect your children. There you go. You win the presidency. That's it. Make sure you like this page if you're new to us. This is what we do every single day until my studio is ready, which should be in about 2 weeks. Other than that, I love you guys dearly. Can't say enough. Share this, and we keep on rocking and rolling every day. 500,000, 2 million, 4 million plays. All right? Thanks so much. And anything, I pray this man is right. Camille Miller says it. Camille Miller, my name is Dennis Michael Lynch, DML. Not this man. Not this man. Dennis Michael Lynch. All right? All right, we'll see you later.